Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Virtue's Brand of Wrestling here on thebigvitobrand.com. And I am Virtue, being joined with my esteemed co-host, the remarkable Robbie Vice. What up?
I feel esteemed. I feel remarkable, man. Thanks for having me on. A lot of stuff happened this weekend. AEW had a pay-per-view, and there were some changes, some big changes to Monday Night Raw. And I cannot wait to hear what your take is on a lot of this stuff. So why don't you just kick us off? What's our first topic tonight, sir?
So first of all, I like to shut wrestling off every now and again, but apparently a lot of people don't. So there was a Ring of Honor pay-per-view on Friday, I guess. Fighter Fest, which is AEW, was Saturday. I didn't do any of that. I didn't spend time watching any of that because I went to a Scott Stapp concert, the former frontman.
Yeah, how was that?
It was really good. He must have found the fountain of youth because he sounded like he did, and I know a lot of people probably don't like his style, cheap Eddie Vedder ripoff from Pearl Jam, whatever. But let's be honest, Creed's first three albums, they sold a lot of records, and during that late 90s, early 2000s, they were the number one rock band in the world. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It was awesome. I enjoyed it, but I could not help seeing on Twitter everybody talking about professional wrestling. Shut it off, people, every once in a while, please. I know we talk about it weekly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm not going to lie. Do you watch it every day?
I do not watch it every day, no. And this may make some people upset, but I could have watched the AEW show, but I was actually playing Bloodstained Ritual of the Night instead. And from everything I've read and the things I've seen, that was a better investment of my time because from everything I've heard, outside of a few matches, that show was a complete dud.
So Ring of Honor, we're just going to skip over Ring of Honor. Ever since AEW started, who does Ring of Honor have? I don't know any of those guys. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No
and yet these wrestling fans clamor over, there could be somebody no one's ever talked about, and as soon as they're pushed by Ring of Honor, they're this God's gift to professional wrestling. I don't get it.
That's right.
So Ring of Honor, whatever, you're the redheaded stepchild now. AEW Fighter Fest. So a couple things come to mind. People are bitching about a pre-show. Why are wrestling fans bitching about any pre-show? I could understand them saying WWE's pre-shows are unnecessary. It adds extra time to the events, and the matches are meaningless. First of all, people were pushing JR over the edge again, saying he sucks and he should be gone. I don't know what happened. Not everybody, but I see JR hate, right? Because he's he's sports entertainment.
Right.
He's the voice of sports entertainment. Of course, and then this librarian gimmick that AEW is trying to do gimmicks, right? Two wrestlers, a female and male, coming out telling everybody, shh. What's so bad about something like that? Why is he getting crapped on? And then the other thing is, I don't even remember. It's probably some other type of gimmicks.
The chair shot crap.
Well, but that was from the main show.
Oh, okay.
So before the show even starts, people are bitching about a pre-show, a kickoff show. Now, I don't know. There's two things. I don't know if this is people that hate AEW trying to find things to hate about AEW, like WWE fanboys and girls, or I don't know if it's wrestling purists who want everything to be about work rate and 30-minute matches. So anything that's not Mauro Ranallo calling moves or pro wrestling, they're going to shit on it. What's your take, first of all, before we talk about some of the hardcore stuff, if you will, that actually happened at this show?
It's kind of like a lot of these fans have built AEW up to be this unstoppable force of everything right in the world with wrestling and everything the internet marks want it to be. And apparently if they veer off that formula at all, their fan base is just going to eat them apart.
It's a kickoff show.
Right.
Two times now.
A free kickoff show.
Complaints have come from AEW twice now from pre-shows.
Yes.
Why are we complaining about anything that's not part of the actual event?
Because everything has to be on the level of a Jon Moxley debut. Because you know what? Not all of the fan base is like this, but I have found AEW's fan base is one of the most toxic, horrible groups of people I have ever seen on the internet. I actually made a comment on Reddit the other day because they have that show Wednesday Night Dynamite, I think is going to be the name of their TV show. Yep. And I just said, I'm excited for the promotion. I think it looks great. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not thrilled with the name. I think it sounds kind of hokey for this day and age. I said nothing bad about the promotion. I praised it. I put it up. I got downvoted 67 times. That is insane to me. The amount of just toxicity. It was gross. So that's what's happened, man. These people have built this up to be some huge thing that it's never going to be, at least not for a couple of years. And their fan base is going to stop this momentum before they even get on TV at this rate.
Cat's making a cameo on video. Now, let's get to the actual event. So first of all, why are wrestling fans acting like they're doctors or they've actually worked in the business and they're saying, wow, unprotected chair shots? Now, I get it. We don't want to see a wrestler landing on his back on the hardest part of the ring like Darby Allin did, okay? Yeah. Twice, because on the apron once, and then he dove through the ropes and landed that flat back out on the outside, which was pretty hard.
I saw some.
And then Cody takes that stiff chair shot from Shawn Spears. Now, yes, Cody got busted open, right? Supposedly the chair was gimmick, which I don't think AEW should have to say it was gimmick to protect their ass like the Young Bucks said. So what's your takes on this? Like, I don't like seeing wrestlers get hurt, right? But let's be honest. For years, people like you and I, we've enjoyed what Jeff Hardy's done. Darby Allin's doing no different, okay?
Right.
We've seen Mick Foley. And
Mick Foley versus The Rock.
Over the years, and wrestling in general has gotten more protected with chair shots. So one time a wrestler decides to take a chair shot like that, and it's Cody, who knows what he's doing. I'm not going to sit there and criticize him. So why are these fans doing it that have never done this?
I'm actually outraged by this unprotected headshot from a chair, not because they did it, because they went on TV and said the chair was gimmicked, that he wasn't in danger. He's a professional. What the hell is going on? You know what? If you have that much publicity, what they should have done is said something along the lines of, hey, I have no idea why this guy's doing this. Keep it kayfabe, make it part of the story, and give Cody a reason to have a grudge match against this guy, which, in my opinion, would have made Shawn Spears. I want to see that match because it's going to be that's an old school buildup of what the hell is this heel doing. Cody's a fan favorite with the Elite. He took a dangerous shot, and instead of coming out and being like, this is just a show, it's a gimmick chair, don't hate us. What the hell? I don't know. That outraged me.
Workers said that. The Bucks said that, and this is a problem I have with the workers being part of the management because they shouldn't say this, right, at all. Now, yeah, I agree. Say it was a mishap. They should have said, you know what, let's just say that Shawn Spears did that and was supposed – he literally wasn't supposed to hit him with that chair that way. Make it look like a shoot. Get heat on Shawn Spears
or whatever for a while, and then have Cody demand his revenge, and that's the only reason he could be, and have it like an unsanctioned match or whatever they want to call it. Yes, that was such an old school opportunity that they just flubbed, and that made me sick to my stomach.
And I do have a problem. So yeah, the fans going on Twitter and saying, unprotected chair shot, that was unnecessary. And then the workers, other wrestlers from other companies, going out there telling the fans to don't worry about it. We're the professionals. We know what we're doing. So they're all breaking character too. Right. And then on top of that, if that wasn't worse, what other shit can we put on the cesspool of fans and wrestlers that's not playing their parts in the social world? Veteran wrestlers who during the time, well, you know, when they were relevant, were doing this kind of stuff, now saying that it's not safe. So they're coming online, and I get it. I understand because they're trying to teach the younger generation. We did this. We didn't know, and it's hurt us now older in life, right? We have CTE. We have this and that. That part I get, but why aren't they direct messaging them? Why are they putting it out there on social media? And then you have the younger wrestlers arguing with the vets. Hey, we know what we're doing. It's a mess, Rob.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's just stupid. And guess what? You know who looks good from all that back and forth between the old school and the new school? No one. No one. They've all destroyed kayfabe. They pulled me out of the. I am so glad that I played Bloodstained Ritual of the Night instead of wasting my time on something and then reading about how angry everyone was later on. So
what system you playing that on? Because I only have it for the Switch, and you said it was pretty bogged down.
It's a little bit better than it was. I was actually playing that a little bit earlier here on my Switch. I have it on Steam, and I also have it on Switch.
Now on Switch, does it play better docked on the TV?
Handheld is definitely better. The graphics are a jumbled mess. Better. It looks atrocious. But I've already I platinumed or whatever you want to call it on Steam. I got every achievement. I kind of had a binge session on it. So now that I know the game super well, it's a little bit better on my Switch, but learning the game on Switch was kind of annoying because of the frame drops. But yeah, by far a better investment than watching whatever AEW decided to put on TV last weekend.
All right, so let's continue one more thing about this event. First of all, I am so glad Chris Jericho did not show up. He stuck to his word. And now I'm hearing this. Look, I like who is the heel, the new heel guy? MJF. I never.
Yeah,
he's a great heel. Right, absolutely great. Definitely. And he's not afraid of what he says, right?
Yep.
But like he's been in the business for a minute.
Yeah.
So I see people now saying greatest heel of all time or current greatest heel, right? What has he done main event yet? I know he's going to get there. Chris Jericho's the greatest heel. He said he wasn't going to show up to an event, and
the cardboard cutout was by far the best heel thing. Remember, he did the interview. He sent his cardboard cutout because he didn't want to show up.
And I get people want the younger generation, but let's just look at it at face value. MJF is the greatest up-and-comer heel in the business. Chris Jericho, too, until further notice, is the best heel in wrestling because of the things he's done in the last 2 months.
The credit I will give, though, and I will say, though, his mic work as a heel for his age is the best I've seen. Okay,
I'll agree. But I've seen a lot of people saying best currently overall in the business. No.
What would wrestling fans be without their hyperbole, though, right? I mean, they have to just go for it on every statement. Every tweet has to be just loaded with wrestling hyperbole.
Yep. All right. So Moxley traded in WWE for about the same. I think he's getting the same money, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because the Khans are rich, so he's getting overpaid by AEW.
Right.
So he could have stayed in WWE. Right, and they work more, they travel more, okay. But he got sick of that too, the burnout, like the CM Punk burnout. Too many matches. The workhorse didn't get pushed hard enough for all his hard work. He's giving all that away for less dates, same amount of money, but now he's going to mutilate his back. He's going back to his. Didn't he work his way up through CZW, getting cut, doing ridiculous things to get noticed by WWE or any big to get millions of dollars and become a millionaire, so he didn't have to do that anymore? He's already back to look. There's certain things about AEW, and I'm the biggest backyard wrestling fan. Right? Did it? Guilty. But when you reach that professional level, why do you want to go back to that yard? I mean, him and Joey Janela's match. Who's Joey Janela? He's like a trained yarder. It looks like a yarder because of his size. I'm nothing against him, but all of a sudden, this guy's a main eventer against Jon Moxley.
Yeah,
and I hate the indie feel and the outlaw yarding feel. And this is coming from a yarder guy, right? An indie guy who tries to do some small indie stuff. I just hate that feel on the big stage. I feel the big stage needs to be for the big boys. Did you see any clips from this?
I did, and I'm going to go on the record right now, and this is another unpopular opinion.
For my record, Darby Allin is greater than Joey Janela. And I'm not taking anything away from Joey Janela, but look at Joey Janela. Darby Allin, dude, okay, you could be a Jeff Hardy. Joey Janela, you got a lot of work to do, bro. And maybe it'll work it's working for you. You were in a main event in AEW, but bygones be bygones. I look at both guys like that were doing ridiculous stuff, and I'm going to give Darby Allin a pass. But anyway, go ahead.
So I am not the biggest fan of hardcore wrestling. I don't mind the occasional chair shots. I don't mind some of the occasional table spots. I really don't want to see. I mean, when I was younger, I used to think it was fun to watch the Necro Butcher and some of these other guys go out there and do stuff. But the older I get, it's just I don't care. And even that Cody and Dustin match, there was enough blood there that I was kind of ugh. So I don't know if it's just me becoming old man Rob, but I'm just not the biggest fan of hardcore wrestling, especially when you got someone as talented as Jon Moxley that you pay so much money for. That's a dangerous spot to put your top prize investment in. And what did we get from it? What was the result of it? Who cares? It didn't lead to anything in the future.
Oh, wait. No, that was Cody and Darby.
That was Cody.
Was a draw.
Yeah, Cody was a draw. I don't even know who won that match, and guess what? It doesn't matter because they're not putting the guy that Dean Moxley, that John Moxley faced. He is not going to be in the main event. He's not going for any titles. This match was a throwaway hardcore match that didn't need to happen. And guess what? For as much as fans complained about WWE filling their roster with filler matches that mean nothing, 90% of this pay-per-view were throwaway matches that meant nothing.
And then, to make it worse, what do I see on social media? What wrestlers are so guilty of today, which ruins their mystique, and they're all guilty of this, especially the ones that are in relationships. John Moxley and Joey Janela backstage looking at each other, Moxley all hurt, and Joey Janela pointing at him like Triple H. After you guys have a big battle of a match, you have to do thrill of victory and agony of defeat bullshit and break kayfabe. No, these guys, like, I hate stuff like that, and I just don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. And they're playing off to the wrestling fans who love eating that stuff up on social media.
But is that the large group of fans, or is that just their small niche of fans? Because that's not going to appeal to a mainstream audience.
Well, they're going to be like, what the hell? These guys just like were shoving each other onto barbed wire and thumbtacks, and now they're like, now they're chill. They're chill backstage.
Right.
Like,
it's almost as cringeworthy as the Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins storyline. That is by far some of the worst mic work, some of the worst scripts. If Vince McMahon had anything to do with Raw, it was 100% the Rollins and Becky shit. It was, I don't know. So
let's move on from AEW and let's just talk about Raw.
Sure.
For 5 minutes, right? Yep. Paul Heyman obviously influenced this first Raw. Now, we're not talking about SmackDown right now. We have no idea how this first Bischoff SmackDown, even he might not even be here yet, happens until maybe next week because Rob and I are recording this before SmackDown. But what happened? We had some weird First of all, we had Lashley and Strowman do a whole Attitude Era spot, and it literally heard, it sounded like the 4th of July backyard fireworks.
Yeah, we finally had Pyro on the main roster.
So they did a big angle there. Okay, whatever. I mean, those are, why those guys? I don't know. Sure. And then we saw like some cringe mic work from Seth and Becky backstage.
Bad.
I really don't even know if they're really in a relationship now. It just seems like a horrible work to me. But anyway, and then Maria and Mike Kanellis finally get back on TV, right? They got a 5-year deal supposedly. I don't know. And Maria's uterus hurts from pushing out a baby, and she's pregnant, but she doesn't think it's from it's total ECW. Look, people, Vince Russo is not back with WWE. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. What is your your hot take here for this first Raw with Heyman? And then I'm going to kind of let you know what I think.
Sure. So it was a better Raw than we've seen in a while. I like some of the things they did. Is it the greatest Raw of the year like some of these people are saying? No. But I think it's a step in the right direction. The Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch have become the worst part of Monday Night Raw, and I can't believe that sentence is coming out of my mouth. I still hate the multiple fall matches because they don't have wrestling during the break, because it really irritates me that in a one-on-one match, you will have one fall over a 10 or 12-minute period. But if it's the best out of 3, someone's going to get a quick pin in the first 30 seconds, someone's going to get it back, and then 5 minutes later, the face is going to win. That it's dumb. It's a dumb formula. But yeah, I mean, it was neat. Undertaker coming back. It's kind of sad. It's kind of depressing. At least he gave a promo that made sense, I guess, for his character. And the one thing I will say that I did like was I liked AJ turning heel. I like the way they did it. I like the Good Brothers. I think they're super underutilized. So if I'm going to judge the show by the last segment, I would say Raw is great. If I judge it by the entire show, I would say, I mean, it's not as bad as it's been. So that's kind of my take on Monday Night Raw.
So for me, normally during a normal Raw, I find things to tweet about, right? Because normally it's people complaining about it, and then I react accordingly.
Sure.
I actually was very busy on Twitter last night generating my own discussions because Maria, that whole angle with Mike Kanellis, bad promos, but some good angles. Yes. And there literally the whole show, there was something happening to make me want to go on social media and talk. Now, I don't know if that was done by design or just the quirks that Paul Heyman maybe is being allowed to present, if he indeed already started writing the show. But, I mean, dude, they let Corey Graves say holy shit. Well, he looks like Vanilla Ice, but he said holy shit, right, which is WWE trying to be edgy because of all the swearing like AEW guys do. But, I mean, whatever. I guess it's a start. So little stuff like that. I actually enjoyed out of all of it. Now Ricochet's awful on the mic, and most people agreed with me on that. But there were a couple, oh, no, he's good. He just needs more time, or he was good in NXT. No, Ricochet's never been good on the mic.
He delivered the same line word for word twice within a 2-minute period.
And he came up through NXT, and I don't care how quick he came up. Dude, the dude should have been coached, right? Or don't give guys promo. And that's somebody like when Vince Russo used to be there. He didn't put people in jeopardy. If he knew people couldn't cut promos, he didn't make them do a live promo. He did a pre-shoot until they got it right.
That's true.
So, again, and the thing I like the most about this whole Raw is when first of all, Mike and Maria, I was like, oh, God, they're just throwing them out. Everybody's going to get TV time now with Heyman. And then I got to thinking, well, that's kind of what Russo did back in the Attitude Era. It got everybody on. It used them. And then when I heard – uterus, I was like, wow, okay. Corey Graves said, holy shit. They're doing the whatever Becky was beatboxing, and Seth was stuttering. I don't really, that was just weird. But then Maria got like really edgy. And then the fact that they're doing this kind of weird, I'm pregnant, but you're not the father type deal.
Story.
It really did take me back to the Attitude Era, and not like the Katie Vick era and stuff. Just the fact that I'm looking at Maria, and she's like a bitch. She turned heel. And who says it's something like this can't get some sympathy for Mike Kanellis, and he could become like a nice little mid-card star out of this because he'll get some sympathy. Yeah. That's how wrestling works. And I don't mind that they did this whole weird. And that type of thing screamed, yes, it screamed Russo, but he has nothing to do with this. And it screamed Heyman, and we got it. And keep in mind, I don't know who was ever responsible for Mae Young's hand and for Katie Vick, but Vince Russo was not working for the company.
I actually do think it was Vince McMahon. I think Mark Henry said in a podcast that Vince thought it was hilarious, and he pushed that idea.
But this didn't reach those depths, I don't think. Necrophiliac and birthing a rubber hand.
Yeah, I think it's
really
straight
made Maria look like a bitch on PMS, that maybe her hormones were changing. And
she referred to him as her bitch. Like, she was doing everything to be not likable.
I honestly like this. I like this because the wrestlers actually have to go out there and show a little emotion. Like, she got the bitch face on. He was playing the whole shocked role.
Did you get that heel Sable vibe from her a little bit?
I kind of did, but what overshadowed her was I'm looking at this and I'm like, could Mike Kanellis get some sympathy and get some Zack Ryder popularity out of this?
Man.
Like when Zack Ryder had the whole thing happen with what was that chick's name back in the day?
Was it AJ Lee?
No. Remember when Cena? God, I can't remember. She was a Divas champion. God, I can't remember her name. But anyway, see, that just shows it wasn't Kelly. Eve.
Yep, you're right.
And so Zack Ryder, I remember, and he was popular with the internet show he had. It takes me back to that, but WWE dropped the ball with Zack Ryder. But if I see Mike Kanellis get some type of television relevance and people actually get behind him at the expense of Maria turning, I'd be all for that. So that's what I took away from it. I saw.
What about the AJ?
Well, and that's more I like seeing AJ with some emotion now. And I quite honestly, I enjoyed them beating down Ricochet. I kind of popped for that.
I did.
But yeah, you have, you can play off the Bullet Club, right? And they tried to do that a couple years ago and it flopped. So let's do it now. So there you go. I mean, it's intriguing. It wasn't the best ever, but
it was better than it's been.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued, and I continue to feel in my heart of hearts that Raw under Heyman, and we said this last time, will be better than SmackDown under Bischoff. That's really all I got to say. Let's wrap it up. Any last thoughts for you, man?
No, man, I'm really excited. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to see what Uncle Eric, Easy E himself, has set up for us on SmackDown Live. Looking forward to it, probably more than you, but that's fine. I guess that's it, man. I don't really have much else. That was everything I had to say.
Twitter?
I can go over my single plug. You guys can follow me at Xenomecha, XENOMECHA. I am Remarkable. I am Robbie Vice. Thanks for listening. And Virtue, if they want to hear more of what the Remarkable One and Mr. Virtue has to say, where is the best place for them to find that?
Well, right here on the BigVitoBrand.com on Virtue's Brand of Wrestling. Also over there on WrestlingWithWrestling.com. We do a little show called Wrestling with Virtue. Maybe we'll change that up to Wrestling with Virtue and Vice. But next week I think we're going to do a new show for that channel. And of course, Rob, you're going to be on No DQ, I promise.
Someday, my friend, someday. Rift, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. Well, No DQ right now is just like, I mean, we're even having trouble getting T-shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, and I tend to believe that's more than the than graphics.
Right.
I think that if you go and look at the store over on that site for the No DQ shirts, they're starting to see it doesn't look too professional. It's very markish with all of our shirts, and that's all I'm going to say. So anyway, that's another topic for a closed door discussion.
We'll talk about that off the air, my friend.
So I'm Virtue. That's Robbie Vice. Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. This is Virtue's Brand of Wrestling right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. See everybody next week.